today inshallah I'll be making Sfiha or lahm ajeen. It's like a pizza with a meat topping, and this is the topping that you'll need. It's super delicious. We have it in Lebanon. You can also eat it in places like Syria, Iraq, Jordan. So it's kind of like an Arab dish. But before I start, I just want to, communicate with the people watching. Who actually watches each snap? Or do you find that my snaps are quite long? Are they too short? Are you those people who tap, tap, tap to the end? Or do you watch and listen to every snap? Because I just want to know, and just for the future and for my own snaps. So message me. I'd like to hear just your feedback generally about this Naseba's Food account. And inshallah, let's start. Thank you. So I've got 5 small onions that I've chopped into 4, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 garlic cloves. So I'll put that into a food processor. So now that that's nice and pureed, I'm adding a handful of parsley, and then in goes 1 chili. Bing! Then we have 3 large tomatoes. Now if you've got a small food processor like I do and it's screaming for help, then just reassure it, tell it it's going to be okay, and just do it in batches. So don't do it all at once, so it doesn't cry too loud and it doesn't get overwhelmed. So that's the puree we get. In goes our minced meat. Not sure why I was stingy with my bowl size. It's about to overflow, so I've got a big one here. I'm just going to transfer that over, so all that clatter. Give it all a good mix. Now there's more things to add, but I'm just going to give this a mix initially. In goes a large tablespoon of salt, a 1/4 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 heaped tablespoon of tomato puree, 1 tablespoon of pomegranate molasses. And if you haven't got that, then don't worry, you'll survive. It's okay. Make that another tablespoon of pomegranate. It gives a lovely tangy flavour. And then we're going to give it all a good mix. And give it all a good mix with your hands. Get that all well incorporated. And then to this, finally, we'll add a 1/4 cup of olive oil. We're going to give it a good mix, and then we're ready to put it aside and do our dough. Now onto our dough. We've got 1 1/2 cup of hot water with love. In goes 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, and 1 tablespoon of sugar, and then give this a good mix. Then in goes 1 1/2 cups of plain flour, and then give that a really good mix. I've switched to my weird looking whisk so I can avoid any lumps in the flour mixture. So as you can see, it's now nice and airy and lump free. So now we're going to cover it and leave it to activate the yeast for around 15 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll go check your messages. Okay, so I'm going to now add 3 cups of plain flour, as well as 1 tablespoon of salt, as well as 1/2 cup of plain yogurt. We're going to give this all a really good mix until it comes together. Once you mix it, you can then add another 1/2 cup of flour and give it all a good mix. I've just added a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and now we're going to knead it together for a good 10 minutes. You can do it by hand or by stand mixer. Today I'll do it by hand. If you feel like the dough is too sticky, then just add flour and continue onto a floured surface and continue kneading. So after punching the living daylights out of this dough, it still comes out smiling, and that's what a polite dough does. So what we're going to do now is let it rest because it's been through a lot. So we're going to cover it up and leave it to rest for around 15 minutes. Okay, so I've got the dough, I can still see the smile, and we've got our floured surface, and we're going to put our dough and knead it for another 5 minutes or a few minutes, and then we're ready. So you want to make around egg-sized balls, and we're going to roll it with our rolling pin to make it a nice thin circle. So I'm going to take this and put it onto a hot tawa, or whatever you call it, pan. And then spoon on your mixture, and we're going to leave it on medium heat for around 2 minutes, and then we'll transfer it into the oven for another few minutes. So it's been 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you can see from the bottom it's gained some colour. So we're going to transfer this now onto an oven tray with lined with baking paper. We're going to put it in the oven, which is really nice and hot, for 3 minutes. And we're putting it on the grill setting right at the top so it can go nice and brown from the top, and that's another dish we're making. And just continue for the rest of your mixture. Now do keep the rest of the mixture covered as you work along with it so it doesn't go hard. And that's really it. Just keep on going. So this comes out of the oven after 2 minutes. I put some pine nuts on this one. As you can see, it's nice and soft. It's not hard. You can still bend it over. And that is pretty much it. I've got layers and layers under here. And you can sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice and dig in. Ta-da! There's still more to come, but this is the first batch to go out. I'll put the recipe up soon, inshallah.